to start off by saying I want to introduce the purpose of this message first, and then we can revisit that later. So the purpose of this message is to break shame and religion off your relationship with God. And what I mean by that, never feeling like you're doing enough to measure up, or feeling like you have to keep doing everything to measure up. And all of that shame and religion is going to bring you back to the same place, which is condemnation, and it's separation from the Lord, and that's not closeness or intimacy with the Lord. If y'all were on the website, I had this written on there, and it's, you and I were created with a longing in our hearts for intimacy with God that comes through prayer. The message that I gave my life to the Lord to, and actually it was just a little part of it, but this is what stuck out to me. Pastor Chris was preaching, and he said we're all created with a hole in our hearts. He designed us that way that only he can fill. And what that hole is a longing and an intimacy to be with our Creator. So, whether you are in the Lord presently, whether you have never given your life to the Lord before, whether you've been serving the Lord for a zillion years, okay? We all have that longing in our hearts to be near to Him. And I'm just going to simplify this for you. So the title of the message is Made for Intimacy, Prayer, and Intercession. Honestly, I'm not going to go into the intercession part. I'm just going to go into the prayer part for y'all. And I'm going to simply define prayer, and that is communication between us and God. He speaks, we speak. We speak, He speaks. Hi, Destiny. How are you? Simple. That is prayer with us and the Lord. And that seems kind of foreign sometimes. We don't always think that the Lord speaks back to us. Like, it's a cool thing, like, especially when you first give your life to the Lord and you know, like, maybe I should pray, but you don't necessarily know, whoa, He speaks back to me? And it's true. He is an intimate God. And what I mean by intimate, the relationship, scratch that. The definition of intimacy is literally closeness, being close to the Lord. Cindy told me maybe 2 weeks ago, and it literally just melted my heart because it's so pure. She said her prayer has been, Lord, I want my heart to be like this, your heart like this, and I want to be that close to you. Make me that close to you. And the reason why intimacy comes through prayer is because in prayer and in His presence is Him. It's all He is, and it's all that He has to offer. So we're actually going to go through, if y'all have your Bibles or your electronic Bibles, it'll be easy for y'all to kind of look at it with me. We're going to go to Song of Solomon, chapter 2. When I was praying about this message, I was asking the Lord for something fresh and new that can relate to anyone at any stage in their life. And He kept saying, Song of Solomon, Song of Solomon. I'm like, are you kidding? Song of Solomon? So I was like, okay. So I started at chapter 1, and I was like, no, that's not it. And I'm reading chapter 2, and I'm like, I think this is it. And then I remember in our Bible study lessons, Pastor Darnell has some of the Passion Translation, and we've been really enjoying that. So I was like, let me read this in the Passion Translation. So for those of you who don't know, Song of Solomon is traditionally written between a man and a woman. We're going to view it as between us and our king, okay? King and us. Let's start reading. Okay. So the Passion Translation, very important. I am truly His rose, so this is us speaking right now. I am truly his rose, the very theme of his song. I'm overshadowed by his love, like a lily growing in the valley. And this is him speaking to us. Yes, you are my darling companion. You stand out from all the rest. For though the thorns surround you, you remain as pure as a lily, more than all others. We're going to go through verse 7. My beloved is to me, so this is us speaking back to him, is the most fragrant apple tree. He stands above the sons of men. Sitting under his great shadow, I blossom in his shade, enjoying the sweet taste of his pleasant, delicious fruit, resting with delight where his glory never fades. Y'all, this is poetic. This is beautiful, right? So this is us just being completely in love with our Creator. Suddenly, he transported me into his house of wine. He looked upon me with unrelenting love divine. Revive me with your raisin cakes. Refresh me again with your apples. Help me and hold me, for I am lovesick. I am longing for more, yet how could I take more? His left hand cradles my head, while his right hand holds me close. I am at rest in his love. And this is him speaking to us now. Promise me, Jerusalem maidens, by the gentle gazelles and delicate deer, that you'll not disturb my love until she is ready to do so. So, like I said, this is a prayer. It's a conversation between us and the Lord. And when we are in communication with the Lord, when we are in that secret place with him that Mia was talking about, and really, some of y'all stole some of my notes while y'all were preaching, just saying. But when we're in that place, it does three things. And the first thing it does for us, it secures. It secures our identity in him. If we go back to verse 1, we're going to kind of be going back and forth. Jane, forgive me. It secures us in two different ways. The first thing, it secures us in confidence. I am truly his rose, the very theme of his song. The word also refers to the Lord as the rose of Sharon. He's our rose, and we're his rose. We are a reflection of who he is. And then he affirms that by saying, yes, you are, in the next verse. When we go into prayer, when we go into that secret place, whatever it looks like, whether it's your bedroom, your bathroom, outside, wherever that place is, we need to go there boldly and in confidence, knowing that we belong there, knowing that he wants us there, knowing that we are a reflection of who he is. And in that place, in that prayer, he affirms you. He didn't have to say, yes, you are my darling companion, but he wanted to. He wants to motivate you. He wants to affirm you. He wants you to know who you are. Even if we know we're children of God, we know we're loved, we know we're redeemed. But when he gives us that rhema word, that now word, that solidifies something in our hearts. And then in verse, this one. It says, for though the thorns surround you, you remain as pure as a lily. The thorns represents the curse of sin. It's literally what the thorns represent. And so when we're in him, and when we're covered by his blood, like Pastor Penny said, we don't have to be perfect, we just have to be covered. When we're covered by his blood, we're as pure as a lily. And although the curse of sin is around us, it's not touching us. And we're as pure as a lily. So the first thing it does in security is that we're confident in him. But the second thing that it does is that we're safe in him. I'm actually going to pull it up on my phone too because I can scroll and read. Oh, look, there it is. Someone was preparing. Okay. verse 3. My beloved is to me the most fragrant apple tree. He stands above the sons of men. Now I want you to place yourself here. You're sitting under his grace shadow, okay? You blossom in his shade. You're resting with delight where his glory never fades. We're never going to want to be intimate with someone that we're not secure in. We're never going to want to be intimate with someone that doesn't make us feel safe. We feel safe under his shadow. We feel safe under his covering and under his protection. We feel safe in his refuge. Psalm 91, 1-2 says, He who dwells in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. I will say of the Lord, He is my refuge and my fortress. And that's He who dwells. I like to think of it like this. You have to be a pretty big person, big building, big thing to cast a large shadow for you to just dwell in, for you to just be and relax in. Our God is so grand, so magnificent. He created everything that you see, and yet we get to rest intimately into his shadow. And in a shadow, you got to be close to that person, right? If you want to be in someone's shadow, you got to be close to that person. And y'all said this earlier, but he literally hides us in his glory. And we get to rest in his presence. And all of this comes through prayer. I don't have to really explain to y'all how to get into this place. Pastor Penny did a really good job at that. Lay on your face if you have to. Run around your house if you have to. Seclude yourself from your family. Say, babe, I need 5 minutes to get under the Lord's grace shadow. I need 5 minutes to get my mind right. And my favorite part about the Lord, well, there's lots. One of my favorite parts about the Lord is that he's not pushy. We're safe in him. He's not going to force himself on you. He's not going to throw himself on top of you. He's not going to say, do this, or I'm not going to be here for you. There's no conditions to his love. And a lot of us can't really grasp that because there have been conditions to loving people in our lives, to loving different men in our lives. And a lot of us can't relate because we just don't have fathers, right? We don't have that shadow. We don't have that protection. But in his shadow, we have rest. We have safety. And he will not harm you. And you can be intimate. And you can be vulnerable and exposed before the Lord. And he's not going to hurt you. So the first thing that he does is that he secures our identity in him, and he secures our safety in him through prayer and through intimacy. And the second thing that he does as we continue to read is that he supplies what we need. So let's read verse 8-12. So this is us speaking to the Lord. Listen, I hear my lover's voice. I know it's him coming to me, leaping with joy over mountains, skipping in love over the hills that separate us to come to me. Let me describe him. He is as graceful as a gazelle, swift as a wild stag. Now he comes closer, even to the places where I hide. He gazes into my soul, peering through the portal as he blossoms within my heart. The one I love calls to me. This is the Lord. Arise, my dearest. Hurry, my darling. Come away with me. I have come as you have asked, to draw you to my heart and lead you out. For now is the time, my beautiful one. This season has changed. The bondage of your barren winter has ended, and the season of hiding is over and gone. The rain has soaked the earth and left it bright with blossom and flowers. The season for singing and the pruning the vines have arrived. I hear the cooing of doves in our land, filling the air with songs to awaken you and guide you forth. Nope, I want that. If we read in very first verse we just read. Listen, I hear my lover's voice, knowing it's him coming to me, leaping with joy over mountains, skipping to love over the hills that separate us to come to me. Hebrews 12:2 says it was the joy set before him that he endured the cross. You are the joy set before him that he endured the cross. You are the anthem that he was singing when he was leaping over the mountains and skipping over the hills that separated y'all. You were his destination. And he did that after that separation, after he came close. We clearly see he goes to the places where we hide. He knows where we are. He knows where we're hiding. He knows the deepest parts within us that we don't want anybody to see. We don't even want to think about it ourselves. He knows the things that have hurt us when we were younger that maybe we don't even know, but we know that we have rejection. Maybe we don't know that our mom wanted to abort us, but that spirit attached to us of rejection. Maybe we have done A, B, and C, and now we're hiding like Adam and Eve. And we're hiding. And we're shameful. But he went over with joy, skipping over the mountains to draw near to you. And he goes into the places that you hide. He endured the cross so that he can heal those parts of your heart. And that comes through prayer, and that comes through intimacy with him. And then we see as we continue, the season has changed, verse 11. The bondage of your barren winter has ended. The season of hiding is over and gone. The rains have soaked the earth and left it bright with blossoming flowers. The season for singing and pruning the vines have arisen. I hear the cooing of doves in our land, filling the air with songs to awaken you and guide you forth. So this is the Lord saying, it's time to move on. It's time to come out of that place of hiding. The Lord's going to speak to you in your secret place, and he's going to expose some things in your heart that you're not going to necessarily like, right? But in that and in that healing, it's to bring you to a place of purpose and destiny. And it's to supply what you need for that. So he's supplying the healing. He's going into that deep and hidden place in our hearts. And he supplied the reconciliation already. He supplied the distance between us and our Creator by enduring that cross. But he continues to supply. He supplies the faith that you need to step out. He supplies the finances that you need to endeavor whatever journey that he has you on. He supplies the joy that you need when so-and-so passes away and it's time for a new season. He supplies the healing to the heartbreak. He supplies the correct mindset and intimacy with him. And through that, and the purpose of that, is to satisfy us with calling. The third thing that he does, so the first thing, he secures us in him. The second thing is that he supplies what we need. The third thing is that he satisfies us with calling. Verse 13 says, can you not discern this new day of destiny breaking forth around you? The early signs of my purposes and plans are bursting forth. The budding vines of new life are now blooming everywhere. The fragrance of their flowers whispers, there is change in the air. Arise, my love, my beautiful companion, and run away with me to the higher place. Now is the time to arise and come away with me, for you are my dove, hidden in the split open rock. It is I who took you and hid you up high in the secret stairway of the sky. Let me see your radiant face and hear your sweet voice. How beautiful your eyes of worship and lovely your voice in prayer. You must catch the troubling foxes, those sly little foxes that hinder our relationship, for they are raiding our budding vineyard of love to ruin what I have planted. Will you catch them and remove them for me? We will do it together. He's saying, come away with me. That right there says, you're not doing this alone. That is a romance novel in itself, right? That's our knight in shining armor, healing our hearts, supplying everything we need, and saying, come, run away with me. And this is the one that secures you, the one that you know wherever you go, he's going to be enough. And he's saying, come away with me. Let me give you a life-giving and refreshing purpose. You're not doing it alone. We're meant to be at that higher place. And in verse 14, for you are my dove, hidden in the split open rock. It is I who took you there and hid you up high in the secret place of the sky. He hides us in his rock. He hides us in his covering. It's in his rock also where he gives us instruction. It's in his rock where he guards us. It said right after, catch these troubling foxes with me. Don't you see? They're trying to ruin everything that I've planted. And we know that. We can be so oblivious towards that if we're not in prayer, if we're not intimate with him, if we're not drawing near to him. He gave Moses the 10 Commandments on the rock. He gave him instructions on the rock. On the rock, in the rock, is where we get the formula for what we need to do next. And it's where we get warning, because when you are walking worthy of your calling, the enemy is going to try to entangle you. He has an agenda against your life, and he hates you. That's why he hides us in his rock, so where the enemy cannot see. And he's going to instruct you and expose the plots and the schemes of the enemy. But if we're too busy, we'll miss it. If we're too busy and if we think we have it, we're okay, we're running away with Jesus, nothing's going to touch me. But he clearly says these troubling foxes are going to ruin everything that we've planted. He exposes the schemes in prayer and spending time with him, and he's going to equip you to do that. And then I'm just going to read the very last verse, that I'm going to read. And it's the woman, and says, I know my lover is mine, and I have everything in you, for we delight ourselves in each other. At the end of the day, it's you and him. He's yours. You're his. It's a two-way street. You're not doing it alone. You're not trying to formulate your purpose alone. You're not trying to rock this thing out by yourself. You're not trying to heal your own heart, because you did, and it is sucking, right? It's worse than how you left it. You're not trying to hide yourself like Adam and Eve tried to cover themselves with a false pretense that they were covered, when the only one that can provide them true covering is Jesus. Intimacy with our Creator provides security, supplies our needs, and satisfies us with a destiny. And we're not going to experience that if we're not in our secret place. And there's going to be a time where he's going to call you to that place. You're going to feel it. You're going to be like, I need to get into prayer with him. My lover, my king is beckoning me. How much better is it going to be when you're the one beckoning him, when you're the one pursuing him, how much better is that intimate time with him going to be when you're the one initiating it and not just him? To be oneness with a husband means you're being one. We all know what that means. I don't have to explain. But through that, the byproduct of that, you're more unified than you ever have been before. You're on the same track. You're on the same mind. There's no bickering. There's no division. You're coming into agreement with that person. When we're one with the Lord, we're coming into agreement with all that he has to offer. And if we're neglecting that prayer time, if we're neglecting that secret place, we are neglecting being made whole. We are saying, I'm okay with being broken. And that is simply the only thing you have to do. Hey, Jesus, this is where I am. You know where I am. Or, you need to just vomit it out and tell him A, B, and C. And it's that simple, y'all. We overcomplicate it. We just read a prayer in the Bible. We just read a conversation between us and the Lord. And that's how simple it is. Don't overcomplicate it. Because, after all, we were made for intimacy with the Lord. It's in our DNA. It's in our being. You don't have to tell anyone how to be intimate. It's who we are. We are intimate creatures. We long for closeness with people. And it's the same with the Lord. So what I want to do right now is I want to pray over y'all. And if y'all can just receive what the Lord wants to do in y'all. And I'm telling y'all, after this prayer, he is going to call after you. He's going to say, come away with me. And it's up to you to respond. He's not going to push you. So, Lord, I lift up every lady in this building. Lord, I pray that they are drawing near to you in intimacy. That they are drawing near to your presence, near to your side. Thank you that we don't have to shout up from above like you're some high, untouchable king, but thank you that our hearts are right next to your heart. Thank you that we're near to you. Lord, I ask, God, that you are just pulling on the heartstrings of every woman in here, and that you are providing everything that we need. You're supplying what we need. You're giving us the security that we need, and you're satisfying our need. And that you're showing us, Lord, that you are all we need. We are made whole in you, Lord. I pray that you're showing us the fruit of it, Lord. I pray that every woman by next week has a testimony of what it would of something that happened after drawing near to you in intimacy with you, Lord. In Jesus' name, amen.